California Senate candidate is an absolute genius. She wants the minimum wage to be $50 per hour. This is a crisis, and we need $50 per hour immediately to save the workers and save the country.
You're calling for a $50 an hour federal minimum wage. That's 7 times the current national minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. Can you explain how that would be economically sustainable for small businesses? You have 60 seconds.
First, let me say I owned and ran a small business for 11 years. I created hundreds of jobs, benefits, retirement benefits, also health care benefits. I know what worker productivity means, and that means that you have to make sure that your employees are taken care of and have a living wage. In the Bay Area, I believe it was the United Way, came out with a report that very recently, $127,000 for a family of 4 is just barely enough to get by. Another survey very recently, $104,000 for a family of 1, barely enough to get by. Low income because of the affordability crisis. And so just do the math. Just do the math. Of course, we have national minimum wages that we need to raise to a living wage. You're talking about $20, $25, fine. But I have got to be focused on what California needs and what the affordability factor is when we calculate this wage.
Her argument is that it is too expensive to live in the Bay Area, and workers, they just need to be paid more, a living wage per se. Houses and food cost too much, so workers need more money. The only obvious way to solve this is to make it a law that workers get paid more. Now, she thinks that $50 per hour will solve the problem. I hope she gets what she wants. Everyone should be paid more. It would make life so easy. But let's take a moment and see how amazing that would be. First, every single employee would get at least $50 per hour. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a 16-year-old flipping burgers or mopping the floor of a warehouse. It doesn't matter that this young person has no skills or experience. He or she absolutely needs to make $50 per hour. I hear that's just a living wage, and any 16-year-old needs a living wage that can provide for a new car and a 3-bedroom house. That's just how things need to be. It's only fair. By the way, if you work 40 hours per week at $50 per hour, that's $2,000 per week. That's $104,000 per year. That is totally reasonable for a 16-year-old with no experience. It's a living wage. Have you ever worked retail sales like Walmart or Target? Maybe waited tables at a restaurant like Olive Garden or Buffalo Wild Wings? Now imagine that the dishwasher in the back of the kitchen, who is still in high school and only works on the weekends as a part-time job, or the guy at Walmart who stocks the shelves in the shoe department. Okay? He absolutely needs to be paid $50 per hour. I mean, it's only fair. Now, let's go back to the restaurant guy, the guy washing dishes in the back of the kitchen. That job is not easy, but it's also not terribly stressful. I mean, come on, what's the worst that can happen? You need to rewash a dirty pan? Now, there are other jobs in the restaurant that are way more stressful, and they carry a lot of liability. What about the grill cook? Listen, if he undercooks a pork chop, people can get sick. Plus, the grills are ridiculously hot, and that could be dangerous. These jobs need to be paid more than the dishwasher, so they clearly need to be at least, $60 an hour? Probably more. I mean, there's skill, risk, stress, and liability. Maybe $70 per hour should be about right? Well, let's take that restaurant example again. What about the bartender? Way more responsibility. I mean, a bartender needs to be accountable for all the patrons, alcohol, running tabs, checking IDs, making sure people aren't overserved. There's a lot of legal liability there. Oh, and the stress, high stress, fast pace. Well, that job needs, what, $75 per hour? Well, then we have the managers. Oh boy. They are definitely more skilled and educated than your average employee. I mean, they're managers. Plus, they've probably been in the business for longer, and they need to be paid more than the other employees. Let's say, what, $100 per hour? Is that fair? Can you see how this goes? A $20 steak now needs to cost $60 just for labor costs. Now, Barbara Lee might be one of the dumbest financial illiterates of our modern age. Have you been to Five Guys or Shake Shack or In-N-Out Burger lately? A burger and fries cost $20. I mean, hell, even a Big Mac combo meal is $18. Those employees get, I don't know, $8 to $10 per hour on average. It's around there. What do you think happens if labor costs go up by 500%? Do you think the cost of a burger stays the same and the business owner just loses money every day? I mean, that scenario can work, but only for a few weeks. Then the money's gone and the restaurant can't continue to buy new food or pay for the employees. Well, that business just closes and everyone loses their job. You're out of work. It's done. It's not viable. You remember a few years ago when going out to lunch was cheap and easy, actually? Then some protesters started demanding $15 minimum wage. Fight for 15. Remember those protests? Well, many states adopted that and raised wages dramatically, overnight almost. And it made everything more expensive. Now, sure, yeah, it took a year or two. But how much does lunch cost now? Do you see the way this has affected the price of everything? See, the cost of labor affects everything because it takes labor to make things. Not just some things, but absolutely everything. It takes labor to create the item, labor to pack it up, labor to drive it to a location, labor to unpack it, etc., etc. Each step in that process will increase in cost by 500%. Now, many modern socialists will say that the means of production should be given to the workers. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I get it. So just imagine the dumbest person that you work with. Now, imagine they own as much of the business as you do. Oh, sure, this is going to work out great. I can't see any way this will go bad. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, let's try to raise minimum wage to 50, and let's just see how this works out. I mean, if it doesn't go great, we can always reduce the minimum wage back to $10, right? I mean, everybody would be cool with that. But did you happen to notice that she completely ignored the question? That's how you know she's completely full of crap. The question was, can you explain how that would be economically sustainable for small businesses?
Can you explain how that would be economically sustainable for small businesses? You have 60 seconds.
And so just do the math. Just do the math.
Well, she said nothing about how a business can pay employees $50 per hour. Just because they need it doesn't mean that the money appears from thin air. She wants you to do the math.
And so just do the math. Just do the math.
Oh, she wants you to do the math? What math? How about don't rent an apartment you can't afford? How about don't eat out for lunch every day when you can pack a sandwich from home? How about don't buy or lease a brand new car when you don't earn enough money? Do you mean that math? Let's simply do the math where you don't spend more than you earn. That's also a form of math. Want to do that math? Seriously, if you have noticed that prices are increasing at a ridiculous rate since they started raising the minimum wage aggressively recently, let me know. Now, if this is just absolutely crazy, and I'm wrong, I'm way wrong, I'm always wrong. I don't know anything about business, economics, or anything. Let me know. Maybe I'm the dumbass. Who knows? I need to hear your thoughts on this one. And after you leave a comment, do me a favor, hit that like button or hit the dislike button if you think I'm an idiot. I mean, that's cool too. I need to know what you're thinking. All right, you guys have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.